Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello friends. My name is Luthfiyyah and my student number is 2019-081-0004. And today, my group will be presenting about describing learners. And our contents today are, the first one is ages, the second one is learner differences, the third one is language levels, and the last one is motivation. Okay, now I will explain about age, and there are three different groups of age. The first one is young learner, the second one is adolescent, and the third one is adult. Age is a factor where we need to adjust how and what things need to be taught. Many people believe that young children learn languages more easily than adults, even though, even formal learning, 12 years old or adolescents do better than children under that age, because children usually learn while playing and don't have a long concentration. Young children are more likely to learn without following directions, but they like to imitate what their teachers do because they are good imitators. Therefore, teachers for young children must be skilled and use good language so that they can be emulated by their students. The teacher must also be able to distinguish every characteristic of the children so that they feel cared for. Because with this, students will be more enthusiastic and have motivation to be enthusiastic about learning. Besides that, they are always curious about new things, so that lessons related to their lives will make them enthusiastic about learning. Adolescents, although they tend to be more successful as language learners than children, they are often referred to as problem students. There must always be a problem, because they are in the process of finding their identity. All that needs to be done is to make them feel comfortable and feel appreciated by both the teacher and their peers. One way is to memorize their names and involve them in relevant learning materials, such as asking them to discuss problems and looking for ways to solve them. Adults, they can learn with abstract thoughts. They already have life experiences, so they are more likely to solve problems related to their life experiences. They have expectations in the learning process. They are more disciplined than other ages and are often ready to face boredom. They also already know why they are studying and what they will do after this. The most important things is motivation, because that is the success factor in learning. They have also experienced failures and criticism at school, so that it makes them feel anxious and uncomfortable. So we are, as the teacher, should minimize the fear of learning in the past by providing achievable activities, giving attention by giving a challenge in the form of exercise, listening to student complaints, and giving lessons according to their tests.
Hello, my name is Silmi Riva'ah W. My student number is 2019-081-0014. I will explain about learner differences, identifying individual needs and student behavior profiles, because as we know, the needs of each individual is different. Okay, first, aptitude and intelligence. Some students may be better at learning languages than others. To find out the proficiency in language requires a language test, but such tests have many drawbacks. This test doesn't measure anything other than general intellectual ability. In fact, analytical talent may not be a critical factor in success. This test only distinguishes between the smartest and the least intelligent. This can reduce the motivation of students who have a bad score on aptitude tests, and it can be the cause of their failure in learning. It is much better for teachers and students to be optimistic about everyone in the class. Next. Okay, the second is good learner characteristic. Some of the characteristics of good learning according to nail-naming are positive task orientation, ego involvement, high aspirations, goal orientation, and perseverance. According to Rabin and Thompson, good students are students who can find their own ways, such as solving problems in their own assignments, are creative, intelligent, like to practice. If they fail, they will be faced rather than avoided using contextual clues. Different cultures mean different ways of teaching. Applying good learners will affect the background of their learning style and can also conflict with the cultures. They will feel discomfort when learning, but there is nothing wrong with trying to implement good language learners. That doesn't mean that they will fail. They can still learn in those ways, but they can still learn even they don't play it. Next. Okay, the next is learner styles and strategies. There are several styles and learner strategies, including, according to Tony Wright's and methodology, there are 4 different learning styles in the group, namely the enthusiast, looks to the teacher as a point of reference and is concerned with the goals of the learning group. The oracular also focuses on the teacher but is more oriented towards the satisfaction of personal goals. The participator tends to concentrate on group goals and group solidarity. And the last is the rebel, while referring to the learning group or his or her point of reference is mainly concerned with the satisfaction of his or her own goals. Next. Okay, there are also different categories of learning according to Keith Willing. Is convergers. There are students who are basically loners. They tend to avoid groups, are independent and believe in their own abilities, and they can also apply their own structure in learning. Conformist. There are students who tend to rely on the authorities and are very happy to work in a class that is not communicative doing what is told. Concrete learners. These are students who enjoy learning from direct experience. They are interested in the use of language and language as communication rather than language as a system. They enjoy socializing, so they enjoy working in groups. Communicative learners. These are students who are more comfortable being able to use language with speakers of foreign languages, and they are not afraid to practice it because they like to learn outside the classroom and without teacher guidance. Okay, next. Individual variations. The way each individual's brain works is different, so it's like, for example, they respond to the same stimulus in different ways. There are 2 systems that teachers find very useful for their learners. The first is neuro-linguistic programming. This system is described in the acronym VAKOG, which means visual, auditory, kinesthetic, smell, and gustatory. Even though it uses all of these systems to experience the world, it has one preferred primary system. So it could be that some people whose primary system is auditory, so they respond to music. Then there are some people whose primary system is visual, so they respond to image stimulus. NLP gives teachers the chance to offer student activities which suit their primary preferred systems. Next. Okay, next is the MI theory. MI stands for multiple intelligences, a concept introduced by Harvard psychologist Howard Gardner in his book Frames of Mind. He suggests that we do not have a single intelligence but a set of intelligences. He lists 7 of them: musical, verbal, visual, body, mathematical, logical, interpersonal, then there is addition of naturalistic intelligence. According to him, everyone has all these intelligences, but in everyone or more of them are more prominent. People whose intelligence in verbal linguistics, they are good at language. People who have visual intelligence, they can be an artist. People who have kinesthetic intelligence, they can be a dancer. If we accept that different intelligences dominate in different people, it suggests that the same learning task may not be suitable for all of the students. So the teacher must do all activities in balance. By paying attention to different individuals, we can direct them to learning activities that best suit their own inclination. Thank you. Next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Karina Safira. My student number is 2019 08 100 27. I will explain about the individual differences, the language level, and language talks and topics. The first part is the individual difference. There are many factors that can influence students' response, which the SAR, stimuli, and the mental conditions. Both of them can make teachers decide which activities works or doesn't, either formally or informally. So teachers can choose the suitable activities that can improve students' learning. However, if the conditions done too often, they will lead to the boredom and the potential development of students cannot. To make classroom activity effective, the first is set an achievement and goals clearly. Then organize many activities that makes many benefit to the different people in a class. Finally, invite students to express their opinion through written feedback or spoken directly. The benefits of feedbacks. First, can improve learning outcomes. Second, enhance collaboration between students and teachers. Third, help students to express their opinions. Fourth, can find out the students' needs in the learning. And the last, as a reference of evaluation. The second part is a language level. There are three types in language level, namely beginner, intermediate, and advanced, including an advanced qualification like a real beginner and a false beginner. The level of mastery language skills of students may differ from one institution to another. Each language institution establishes a standardization for the level of each language with different names and terms for the level. Based on the works of LT, students' language level started to A1 until C2. That sets are widely used in the textbook, writing, and in curriculum designs globally. ESL was made and established by the TESOL in America. Students have various abilities at certain levels. Sometimes the achievement level by students affects their language learning motivations. That conditions is called plateau effect. The impact is students can surrender easily. There are many tips how to increasing students' motivations in language learning. The first is set a clear achievement and goals. Second, ensuring activities that can increase students' interest. Lastly, varying linguistic topics and the methodologies as a language level adjustments. The last part is about language tasks and topic. How to teach English for students that must be notified about. First, learning activities must be tailored depending students' language level. Second, create a fun learning atmosphere. Third, provide opportunities for students to understand the lesson. Lastly, assign the tasks with carefully. That's my explanations about individual differences, language level, and language tasks and topic. The next topic will be brought by the next presenter. And lastly, assign tasks with carefully. And lastly, assign tasks with carefully. That's my explanations about the individual differences, language level, and language logs and topic. The next topic will be booked by the next presenter. Thank you.
My name is Nafis Alsih and my student number is 201908111. In here, I want to tell you about the motivations. The first is defining motivations. In order to achieve our success, we need to do something to achieve it. Someone will learn something and wants to be successful needs motivations in their life. The people who want to achieve their goal in learning, they should keep diligence in that learning process. So, what is the motivations? Motivations is some kind of internal drive which pushes someone to do things in order to achieve something. For example, when a beginner tries to learn grammar, they need to study well to become better someday. They must have the objective of success in understanding the grammar. That success can certainly be obtained from motivation. Okay? And there are two kinds of motivations. The first is extrinsic motivations and the second is intrinsic motivations. Extrinsic motivations is the motivation that can influence a person to focus on their achievement. For example, when a student is studying hard for the exam preparations to get a good score. And the second is intrinsic motivations. Intrinsic motivation is the motivations of themselves to achieve something they want. For example, the student will love English lessons and continue to learn the lessons without any pressure. And there are external sources of motivations. In these external sources, there are motivations come from outside or other individual involvement when one learns English. There are four external sources of motivation. The first is the goal. The main purpose of learning something is that they must know what they will learn. The student will focus on their learning. If they already have motivation to achieve the goal, but the student may not know the real learning, they are less focused on learning. So to achieve success, surely they must have a goal in learning English. And the second is the society we live in. In these situations, the society we live in can be part of helping students in learning English. For example, if the language learning is a part of the curriculum of high or low status. In here, some students still hesitate to make a decisions. So they should make their decisions to come to class to study English. They will bring them attitudes from the society they live in. And the third is people around us. The attitude of parents and family can motivate them in learning process. They are more motivated in learning if someone encourages them. They will be greatly influenced by the people who are close to them. And the last is curiosity. The beginner will be interested in the first study because they will be curious about their new teachers or the lessons they will learn. When the students start to learn English for the first time, they more are interested to see what it's like and they will more active in the class. So, the last is the motivation angel. As the teacher, we should to motivate our student, and this motivation angel can keep students in their learning because we can be the positive effect for them. There are 5 motivation angels. First is effect. Building comfort between the teachers and students in learning is the important things in the first meeting because when the teacher is caring and helpful, they will be interested studying. In this part, we as teachers should be attractive with our students and try to know about their characteristics. We can be a good listener for them to our respect with their opinion. Second is achievement. We as the teachers must continue to support the student in achieving their goals. We can provide materials that is suitable for them. It's not too difficult or it's not too easy to. It will make them more challenged in their learning and stay focused for the next meeting. And the third is attitude. Students will be interested in the lessons once they know how we teach them. They need to believe that we know what we are doing. So, we as a teacher should be prepared about the material. We can be a professional teachers if we already know about the material. We will teach before we begin the class. When students have confidence in the teachers, they are likely to remain engaged with what is going on. The fourth is activity. Students will more interested in the fun learning. For the example, making a game or making a quiz. So they didn't get bored in the class and they can be more relaxed about the materials. And the last is agency. Teachers can give freedom in learning. For example, we can discuss with students about the difficulty in the material according to them. Then we can give them the excitement that they could understand. The more empower them and give them agency, the more likely they are to stay motivated over a long period. But surely we must be able to see where is the good advice and good potential in the learning process. Thank you very much. I think that's all about our presentations. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.